Welcome to TECH5, 5 things that can save or benefit your business. Today we're going to be talking about secure access, secure remote access, and some things where you may want to consider whether you want to use VPN or other means to securely access your network.
Customers have been asking us, approximately 5 big questions
Yes.
around securing, remote access. But before we get into that, let us, peel back the onion and look at the history of remote access and how we come to this point.
Basically, what we want to start off with is, where are we today, how right now, and how customers are really solving or addressing this problem of providing access onto their system or to their applications from remote workers. And many places are using a thing we call VPN, virtual private network. And in the pre-COVID time, people were using VPN occasionally, or for
That's
those
right.
people who are road warriors, those remote workers or contractors that may want to access the network or the applications, every now and then.
Correct.
The thing is, though, is that things have changed. We've moved away from this need for every now and then to a more continuous, permanent connection. And not only is it gone away from just being 1 or 2 people, but now most of the company's staff is now doing this,
Including the contractors and the partners.
right? And so, but the thing is that what exactly is this VPN? I mean, this is something that was created back in 1996 for a paradigm where all of your applications and your jewels resided within the organization's perimeter.
Correct.
But what's had to happen now is that you have your remote workers who are there at home or wherever need to find a way to tunnel in through the firewall to effectively extend the network from inside the office out to them. And this is done through a thing they call virtual private network. And
usually it's an experience where the users are actually almost like they're dialing up. They get this VPN client and you log into it and you watch it and it says, okay, right, I'm getting into the network and then I'm connected to the network.
Right. So there's the users have a particular experience in using VPN. And VPNs do work, they do solve a need. But what we're trying to say today is that the paradigm has shifted. Applications no longer only live inside the network. Applications live out in the cloud as well. And so there are some things that you have to consider and what is best for you, especially now in this time where you now are moving from a few people to most of your organization working remotely.
So let us look at how VPNs work. VPNs work by saying, here I am. Here is the network entry point into my organization where you can access my applications.
So this is the gateway.
The gateway. Right. Basically, it's saying here is the entry point into the network where you can access my application. So you're actually advertising where your apps are, and that advertisement is actually public. So therefore, not only your remote users that you want to connect to your network are seeing this advertisement or this or this broadcast, but also the criminals, cyber criminals, actually can discover that same endpoint just in the same manner that your remote users and contractors are
essentially you're telling the world, here's my front door, right? Just knock, so to speak. So what this means,
and David, if you have a situation where most of the attacks are actually coming from the internet these days, cyber criminals are using the internet to attack, then the question is, why do companies continue to expose their network and their applications to the internet if that is a major point of vulnerability?
I think what it is that VPN works on the assumption of trust, where I trust implicitly the remote host that I am granting access. And what you are doing essentially is you're granting access to the network. Like, okay, come onto the network so you feel like, like I was there in the office and I can perform my work. But as I said, when you're in the office, you can assume assume trust. When you're external to the office, does that question still apply? Can I assume trust?
Agreed.
I think that's one of the big issues.
And one of the biggest problems that you have as well is that particular network entry point, if it's not up to the latest version, if it's not patched, if it's not maintained and so forth, then you end up with a big security concern or risk.
Right.
Just to give an example, a very large financial traveling company actually was, got ransomware just a few months ago due to the same security risk of a VPN that has not been patched, and cyber criminals got a hold of it and ransomware their environment.
Right. And, especially in this time as well, Undel, when so many organizations, workers are working externally using their own devices.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So the BYOD brings an additional aspect of risk and concern to the organization. But okay, so that is from a security perspective, and there's other things that we could talk about. But there's also the issue of the user's experience in using this means of accessing their workloads, their applications. And whereas IT may check a box saying, yes, I've created this means of accessing the network, what is the experience of the actual user using it? I don't know, Undel, if you can.
Right. I mean, you have instances where users have to make repeated logons because either the connection is not that great or there's some disruption in that virtual private network connection back to the network. And you also have issues of users trying to figure out, where's my app? Is my app within the internal network that you have exposed to me, or is it in somewhere else? So therefore, when do I fire up the VPN, and when don't I fire up the VPN? Why shouldn't I? When shouldn't I fire up the VPN?
Well, one of the big issues I certainly have found is that if I fire up a VPN to connect to the network to get to a particular app that I use every day, but I also have another app or another workload that runs in the cloud, there is often a hairpin turn that you need to make to get back.
Or it breaks.
Typically, that's what happens. Or you have to shut that down in order to do some other work. So really, user experience is something that businesses need to be concerned about.
Definitely.
The other thing, though, is from the business perspective. VPNs, yes, again, they work, but it's hardware based. So Correct. What about scale? How do I scale from a few occasional users to most of my workforce now residing offsite?
That means more capital expenditure. That means more licenses, and that means more administration and management. So therefore, the cost to scale a VPN solution is actually something that is very expensive for the customer versus something that is probably more acceptable and more secure.
So I think this gives a very good as current situation now. So let's just talk a little bit about what are the qualities one would look at. Old world, today versus a newer modern approach. So first, from the old paradigm, we assume trust. But in a new paradigm,
it has to be zero trust. And right. Gartner says by 2023, companies should be moving to a zero trust network access, where users are no longer placed on the network and are only given access to applications. And those applications should never be exposed to the public internet or to anyone, not even where your remote users.
And
remote employees.
that's a very key point, Undel. When you think about it,
Mhm.
what is it you want to give the user access to? An application. That's
correct.
it. And
Mhm.
they should not care where that application resides, on-prem, in the cloud. They shouldn't care. They shouldn't have to do anything different. So that's
Right.
the new world. The other, I guess, old paradigm again speaks to what we're just talking about here, which is the
Mhm.
user experience. You
Mhm.
know, this experience of having to log in and wonder where my application is. That we find
Or you're
leads
trying to access a cloud application because you're hairpinning through your data center. It's slow.
right. And one very key point from a business perspective is that I need to ensure that my remote users are just as productive as they
Mhm.
were when they were in office. And if users find difficulty to do their work, what do? They bypass it. They find
Right. The
alternate means.
alternatives.
So
Mhm.
there's security risks, etc. Okay.
So what you want is a zero trust access to your network, as well as a seamless user experience
Mhm.
where the users maybe authenticate, and right away they have privileged access to their apps without you exposing your
Right.
network. And that's the
So
experience you want, meaning that the same way that they're in the office and they're actually accessing their applications, what do they do? What do they do? They
right.
actually log on to their machines and they double click an icon and the application launches. At home, you want to bring that, or remotely, you want to bring that same experience to the user where they log in and authenticate, and then they double click that application on their desktop, or they browse to that intranet, or they browse to that application, and it just works. They don't have to figure out, is this inside my corporation or is this outside of my corporation? It just works.
So the third thing from the old world perspective is cost. I mentioned this earlier
Mhm.
that VPNs is hardware based. So there are physical appliances and licenses that have to be implemented and provisioned and configured in the old paradigm. The new paradigm then under would be software.
Well, I mean, the old paradigm also, besides buying VPN servers or concentrators, you also have to buy other appliances to protect the VPN from denial of service and other issues, security issues that may occur. In the new world, that it is software based. Zero trust network access is a software based architecture. You can and it is actually based in the cloud, so therefore scalability is not an issue, and cost in terms of capex is not an issue as well.
Right. And then the fourth thing from the old world perspective is that we mentioned a while ago, where you're publishing your front door to the world and saying, here, come onto my network. So that's the old world. I guess in the new paradigm, again, it's around the
In
zero trust
in
approach.
the new world, users don't need to be aware and are not aware of the location of your applications. They are brokered access to that application. So
Mhm.
therefore, the cyber criminals that are on the internet no longer have a network entry point to target.
Okay.
So the whole concept of zero trust is that you're no longer boring a hole into your firewall and advertising that, but you're actually connecting your apps to your users through a brokered secure connection.
And I think also from the fifth thing, which is very much related, is the fact that when I grant in the old world, when I grant access to the network, I'm granting overprivileged network access.
Right. You're
Which
actually telling the
coming from
users, here what? You can ping around, you can basically browse around and see what else is available.
Mhm.
In a new world, if you give them access only to the HR application and the payroll application, they can't ping around, they can't discover anything else. All that they have is just access to the application, and they authenticate, and then you set policies that state application access. So before, you had to go through the whole concept of network segmentation and trying to figure out, how do I keep the users off this segment and off that segment? In a new world, you're talking about application segmentation, not network segmentation.
And I guess this really, very much falls into the fact that, being at its software based, it is far more, you create a more agile and flexible approach at scale.
Right. That means that you could have an application that is running within your data center and move that to the public cloud, and the user still would be able to access that application seamlessly and without issue.
Right. So, now that we've sort of set the stage, the as is, we now understand some of the issues with the approach that many companies have been using, and we understand now the qualities that you're looking for with a different approach. One of the things that we have been coming across is a set of questions, as I'd mentioned before, that we keep hearing from our customers. And the first one that keeps coming up is, okay, how is this service different from my VPN? Does it, really provide zero trust? Does my VPN already provides that?
Well, we have explained that VPNs really do not provide zero trust. It advertises the network endpoint. It lets the user onto the network, whether that user is a contractor, whether that user is an employee or a partner, and it assumes that endpoint is trusted to some extent. And then you have to know within your data center, figure out how you're going to do network segmentation. It just gets difficult. Right. So the new approach or an alternative approach is where users do not have network access.
Right.
They have access to their applications.
And you see, that dovetails straight into the second question that people ask, which is, does this approach support apps that are both in the data center or in the cloud? And then does it work for any app?
Good question, David.
I keep saying is that, when you are granting access to an application as opposed to access to a network, it takes out all of the the where is this or where is that? I don't know if you can sort of expand on that a little bit.
Well, let us look at it. Now, you used to have applications in your data center. Now, because of scalability, reliability issues, as well as cost issues, customers are saying, how can I take advantage of the cloud? How can I move some of my applications into the cloud? That way, users who are anywhere can access them. Now you end up with applications running in a data center and applications running in the cloud. When you have a VPN, where does a user VPN to? Do they VPN to your data center? And then you connect them from your data center to this application running in the cloud? Or do they VPN to a virtual firewall that's in the public cloud connected to your application that's running in the cloud? You see where the confusion comes in. Where do I go?
Where do I
so
go?
forth. Or you have a situation where I'm going one place, but I'm then hairpinning or backhauling that traffic to the other place where the applications reside, instead of users going direct to app, which is much faster, which is a much better experience. In the new world, that is taken care of because the apps connect to the users rather than the users connecting to the apps or boring into your network and connecting to the apps. So therefore, whether they are located within your premises, in your data center, or in the cloud, the users have brokered access to that, to those applications.
This feels like it's a much lighter, simpler, less moving parts kind of approach.
Yeah. Because imagine if a user, using their laptop and they're at home accessing their applications. They've already authenticated. They don't care where the applications are. So therefore, the burden of knowing where goes away. Right. Then they actually say, okay, I need to now move from my location here at home and I need to go to the coffee shop. Would it still work? The user opens back up their laptop after having been in sleep mode and they press the button to get onto their internet and it just works. And they say, wow, I didn't have to re-sign in. I didn't have to re-authenticate. I didn't have to do anything special. I just do my work. Productivity rises.
And guess what? That really leads straight into the third question that the people have been asking, which is, what's the user experience like? And I think you've touched on it. The user no longer has to, remember to do this in order to do that.
That's correct.
Completely seamless. And it's seamless because it takes away where is this thing? Where is that thing? It just works.
So imagine having that seamless experience without exposing your network. And that's exactly what Zero Trust is all about. That is exactly what we're talking about today.
And, so we have two more questions. I mean, the third question that, we get asked is, how do I, and of course, this is, coming again from the old paradigm, how do I control access to each application? If I'm using VPN, how do I control access to each application without having to set, access control lists or performing network segmentation?
You control that by policies. Imagine setting simple policies that says this set of users has access to this application. As simple as that. And these applications run on these ports. So the web application runs on 80 and 443, and this other application runs on a different port. And if the user tries to get to anything else, even get into that application and trying to get to another port on that application, access is denied. They are only allowed through policies to access applications on specific ports. They don't even need to know what IP address that application has. They access it by name.
Right. These are some of the things that the systems administrators and the security officers ask. And I think the fifth question that they often ask is, how do I know what apps my users are accessing? How do I tell?
One of the biggest problem is visibility. Visibility into user activity. And what our solution actually provides, Zscaler Private Access, is that visibility, and that visibility in real time. As well as one of the other problems that exists is, users are now on my network. What are they really accessing? Are they trying to access another PC? Are they accessing an application that I don't know about? Our solution also actually surfaces what we call shadow applications that users try to access. And it actually provides a discovery feature. So you can say, my remote users are trying to access things that I did not authorize or I should authorize access to.
Right. And those are the type of things that are just not available under the old paradigm of remote access.
Definitely.
So we've covered 5 critical questions that many of our customers are asking. We've covered things such as the as-is and some of the problems with the old.
Definitely, we have covered 5 of those as well. Right. And another point that you made as well is that they always talk about, yes, some applications may work, but most of the applications won't. Our Zscaler Private Access gives the remote user, access to any type of application, client server, web-based, or normal PuTTY, Telnet, and those things. So all applications work via the Zero Trust Network architecture.
Okay, so just to sort of recap then, and to sum up 5 benefits.
Yes.
Of this, Zero Trust approach to remote access. One is the, boost in IT productivity. You can deploy this software-based solution in a matter of days, not months.
Right, because the time it takes for you to procure, install, configure, secure, patch, that's definitely an extended amount of time.
The second one is deliver a superior experience to the user. No more need for these VPN clients.
Users must be able to bring up their workstation, whether it be a laptop, a tablet, or whatever they're working with, and the experience should be no different than when they're in office.
Third, you want to reduce your risk. Zero trust access for all users. Reduce the attack surface. Remove that front door, here I am, please come and attack me approach.
Definitely. Zero trust network access delivers that using Zscaler Private Access.
The fourth benefit, gaining visibility into the user's activity. See what should they be granted access to because of usage, what they should be granted access to. I've surfaced how your users are actually their activity in the system,
and using that visibility to actually build the policies for remote access.
And then I think from a business perspective, the fifth benefit is about becoming more adaptive and agile. Be able to go from zero to hero. Go from the situation where I had a few occasional remote users to where the new reality of most users are remote.
That's correct. That's where you'd want to be, where you can move from a situation where in a matter of days, you can have your entire workforce working remotely.
Indeed. So our approach then is to use the zero trust access approach. We represent a product called Zscaler ZPA.
Yeah.
Right.
Zscaler Private Access.
Right. It's software based, and we can look at this, or customers can look at this to either replace or extend, augment your
VPN solution. I mean, if you already have a VPN solution in place and you already are up to date on your licenses, even though it's a advertised network entry point, we would say make sure you patch it. Make sure it's up to date on the latest releases. But if you're looking now to extend that, look at a new approach. Look at where zero trust actually can make your organization more secure while delivering seamless user experience to your remote access users.
I think the key takeaway is the paradigm has changed, guys. As we discussed in the beginning, it is a new reality where your applications no longer reside within that perimeter, but you also have things happening in the cloud as well. And you need to make sure that your users are just as productive as they were on-prem.
And then you have to make sure that your organization is being protected while providing that access to your users. No more advertising. Zero trust is the way.
And I think in closing then, for those who want to learn more, please go ahead and contact us. And we can assist you to either how we can replace or how we can augment your VPN infrastructure today. All right?
Definitely. All right.
All right, Undel. You take care. Keep safe.
You take care as well.